Everyone, welcome back. I'm Amari, your Perpetual Tech Noob, learning more with you. This is the first official episode of my Story Sharing Sessions playlist. I hope you enjoy, and even more than that, I hope you gain something from it. Today I'm here to paint a bigger picture about my past and how it has affected my resilience. Also, how the events of the recent 3 years has pushed me to raise my level in this regard. For those of you who would rather not spend a lot of time revisiting my past, the biggest takeaway is that I was not able to gain a software engineering role in the time that my savings allowed me. And I will soon, very soon, have to try to return to the Union for re-enlistment. That being said, the frequency of my videos will most likely decrease. I've been mostly successful in creating at least one video per week, and although they weren't exactly production grade, I'm sure you can appreciate the amount of work and energy that goes into each and every one. So, that's the shorthand version. After 3 years of essentially constant rejection, I'll be forced to run back to my old career, and the frequency of my video posts will most likely take a hit. With the biggest point out of the way, let me open up the curtain a little bit to give you a better glimpse into my past. I had an opportunity to study computer science in my vocational high school, but I opted to study electrical installation instead. This is the field my father is in, and at the time, he was the lead project manager in his shop and the second electrical license holder, so it seemed like a simple decision. With his standing, I would easily be able to land seasonal roles while I was in high school and a full-time position once I was done. That being said, don't you think for a second that I was ever a slouch. Not only did I yearn to impress my father, but I was also heavily concerned with making sure I didn't sully the name and the prestige that he built for himself. I never really got the chance to impress him with my skills during those high school years, as I only worked summer and winter breaks. With my lack of experience, I was pushed into being a shop hand, keeping the warehouse section clean and orderly, taking material orders, and delivering them to the various job sites around NYC. The owner wouldn't take it easy on me at all. I got lost in Manhattan plenty of times, delivering a staggering amount of material by foot. The guys didn't take it easy on me either. I guess they wanted to play their role in turning this little scrawny 14-year-old boy into a man. They would come back to the shop after completing the job and throw the remaining material any and everywhere. It didn't matter how long I spent bringing order to the chaos that was that warehouse, sorting every little item by class and size so that they could easily find and grab whatever they needed, so that I can easily collect any necessary items from the latest call-in order, or to easily see if we even had it in stock. Sorting bins that were bigger than me, filled with heavy gauge wire, all scattered about, all mixed together. They would come back, proclaim that they never seen the shop looking so neat and orderly, then proceed to drop everything that they brought back into the closest pile. The pile I spent the last couple of days sorting through. I hated it, but I couldn't even really blame them. Their job was to complete the latest mission in the field. A heavy job, I was sure. My job was to make their mission progress as quickly and easily as possible, all for a staggering minimum wage. I remember thinking, I'm not here for this. I was supposed to show my dad all the skills I learned in school. I was supposed to show him that this 14-year-old kid could actually work side by side with the big boys. Like I said though, I didn't get that opportunity at the time. Conversely, in high school, I found it all too simple to impress my peers and even my teachers. I was always made the tutor since class sizes were generally pretty large. Even when we had an assistant teacher, my services were always needed. I excelled to the point that I received the gold medal for excellence in electrical installation upon my graduation. All of that banter was to say that I had no issues finding work and some recognition during and after high school, and that I remained consistent in a job I hated to pay my dues, as they called it. Evidently, I started working as soon as I could at 14 years old. I wanted to prove my independence by buying my own school clothes, but my father had different plans. He set up a bank account, and that's where the vast majority of my earnings went. I was only allowed enough to get to and from work, buy lunch, and $20 a week of spending money. This was at least better than the $10 a week he would give me for allowance when I wasn't working. I later found an appreciation for this tactic once I turned 18 and the account was turned over to me, and I saw how much I saved. Still, at the time, I hated it. Working for years without even being able to smell what little money I earned pissed me off. There was no other option but to endure it though. Even when I went to find employment at other shops, being upset that I was paid peanuts and not allowed past the boundaries of being a shop hand, it didn't matter. My money wasn't officially mine until I was 18. After high school, I decided to turn down my father's offer to pay for college. Instead, my plan was to work for a few years and save up the money myself. Now, my father wasn't the type to directly tell his children what path to take, but what he did was to get the foreman I was working with to persuade me, through daily talks, to take him up on his offer. As stubborn as I am, it took about a year for his words to finally break through. I still remember the defining argument that made me finally reconsider. What he said was something along the lines of, "You're not making much money now, but once you get used to that money, the less appealing college will look. Even more than that, if you happen to get a girl pregnant, you'll definitely have to forego college because you will need every bit of money you can get." With that, I was convinced that I should be more serious about dealing with college as soon as possible, and I went to ask my father if the deal was still on the table. Luckily, he was still willing, but it came with just one stipulation. I can't work during school time, relegating me to go back to working seasonally. I didn't like the idea at all, but he warned that he won't continue to help if at any time my GPA ever reached below a B average. He was adamant that I discarded any and all distractions and make my grades my sole focus. By the time I went to look into the college's programs, I quickly understood that the aviation piloting program, which is what I really wanted to major in, was too expensive, even for him. I decided to enter the aviation maintenance program, which was about 3 times cheaper, figuring that if I knew the aircraft inside and out, I'll be able to quickly learn how to fly a plane when I get the chance. After all that work and all my savings over the years, I was only able to afford 1 semester. And that's what I did, leaning on Dad to pay the rest of the way. During those college years, I didn't play around at all. Even after what he said regarding my grades, I pushed past his expectations to get the best grades possible, leading me to graduate with honors. I love airplanes and the thought of flying my own one day. I still do. I was so in tune with my major that by the time I was in my final year, I had a professor and a student, both working at separate companies, approaching me with offers to write me a letter of recommendation, both hoping to get me a position in their companies. Of course, I was still working seasonally as an electrician. I decided to decline those 2 offers for 2 specific reasons. First, the aviation industry was facing financial crisis at the time, and another professor had warned me that this was foretelling a looming recession. Second, my electrical shop was about to start negotiating to enter into New York's electrical union. Between the uncertainty of the industry that I was currently studying and the prospects of the field that I had ongoing actual experience in, the choice seemed clear. That historical recap was to again point out the fact that I never really had any issues finding employment. Through my drive and dedication in every field I studied, I even had prospective offers thrown at me. Even after joining the union, if I was to ever get laid off from a company, all I would have to do was wait until the union called me to tell me the next company I would be working for. Before the pandemic, the longest time I stayed on the bench was about 3 days. Now, let's fast forward to the recent past. I mentioned in my intro video that I picked up coding as a pastime while I was waiting for the union to call, and I just so happened to fall in love. I started looking at it like the cool new chick that I could laugh and talk to, especially now that my serious girlfriend has been avoiding me and treating me so callously. I started to want her. Bad. Real bad. And I figured, as history has taught me, that if I put my all into it, I'll be able to make her mine. Before my attempts at breaking into tech, you couldn't tell me I wasn't resilient. Yes, my father's accomplishments paved the way for my position at that company, but I worked hard at both school and work to earn it and to subsequently keep it. Yes, the workers of that company voted to join the union, but since I wasn't a full-time worker, I couldn't join with them. After college, I had to work, grossly underpaid again, for 2 years until the owner couldn't take my constant harassment anymore and finally got me a meeting with the union leaders to get inducted. Throughout my 14 years of working with the union before the pandemic, I was only laid off for lack of work twice. Also, just to be clear, lack of work means that the company no longer has enough ongoing work to keep everyone employed. Not that I was slacking off or something. Like I said, I was never a slouch, alright? Let's not get things twisted here. I should still have a squeaky clean record with them. Always courteous and respectful. Always professional. Return to that last proclamation. Before the last 3 years, no one could tell me that I lacked resilience. Before the recent past, if someone were to tell me that they were diligently studying, practicing, and applying for work in their field of study for 3 whole years without any viable prospects, I definitely would have gave them the side eye. I definitely would believe that something was wrong with them, whether they were lacking in skill or work ethic, personal character flaws, or something. I can't see myself as I was then, unknowingly privileged to never have faced such hardships for so long. To look at someone like the current me and my current situation and declare their resilience. Back then, I never needed true resilience. I could never even fathom its depths because I was never really tested to such an extreme. I can definitely say that my resilience has increased over this time though. I like to study, and I'm Extra Credit's biggest fan. But if you were to go back in time and tell me that 3 whole years after I sent my very first application, I would still not have any viable prospects for my first front-end developer role, I doubt I would have followed through. If you were to tell me then that I would face countless rejection, double back to learn even more, start applying again to face even more rejection, go find a boot camp for a more formally recognized education, start applying again to face ever more rejection, I definitely would have released the notion that this field held my next opportunity. I would have never kept the drive to keep wading through these muddy waters. I would have never faced so much rejection that it seems the entire world is trying to tell you that you're not good enough, just for you to come back and try again in the attempts to gain someone's recognition. I would have never learned so much, especially what it took to build true resilience. Now, as I stated, I'm out of money and thus out of time. I'll have to see if my old girlfriend is willing to take me back so I can at least regain the benefits of such a relationship, even though she was rude to me before locking me out in the cold. In keeping with that analogy, that new girl, software engineering, I still think she's the coolest, and I always have a great time whenever we're together. But she constantly rejects my attempts to go steady. She still tells me that I'm not good enough for her to take seriously yet. And every time I retreat to learn more, to build more, to be a better man in her eyes, because I want her. I need her. I love her. Now, I dare you to tell me that this isn't true resilience. I already told you that I'm forced to run back to construction, and I alluded that I'm still not giving up on becoming a developer. With that being said, between work and studies, I'll have even less time to create content for YouTube. I'll do my best to maintain the channel so that you all can continue to learn from both my success and failures. I'll leave you with this. Keep building your resilience. In this current job market, and especially in tech, we're gonna need it. Wishing you the best. Until next time. If you appreciate what we're doing over here, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. All right, y'all. You know how it goes. Till next time, keep building.